Callow wishes he didn't have to wait so long to become an adult, because everyone knows adults are in complete control of their time. Take learning, for instance. When Callow becomes an adult, he ain't about to go to school. Nope. Academics does nothing but derail dreams. Callow's dreams is of being just like Halcyon, one of the greatest rock guitarists of all time. And as timing would have it, Halcyon just so happens to be playing at the downtown arena tomorrow night. Callow pleads with his dad, unsuccessfully, to buy a couple of tickets. This forces Callow to run with Plan B, skip the bus that goes to school, and pedal, full blast and top down, to the arena. He got scared a few times because downtown is so far away from home. He got headed the wrong way down a mean street more than once or twice, but eventually the end was dead ahead. He didn't have any hard cash, so he bribed his way in. Halcyon, fortunately, agreed to hear Callow's sob life story. Halcyon responded with some grown-up words. Time to face the music, Junior. You, like all of us, must learn one of life's toughest lessons. I'm going to help you so that you can become an adult about this. I'm going to quote from a sage old bird named Solomon. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones and a time to gather them. A time to embrace and a time to abstain. A time to search and a time to give up. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear and a time to mend. A time to be silent and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. What does the worker gain from all this toil? I've seen this burden that God has laid on man, and yet he has made everything beautiful in its time. Whatever is has already been, and what will be has been before, because God calls back the past. After quoting the sage old bird, Halcyon told Callow, basically, you want complete control of your time. You believe if given the chance, you can prevent the bad things, the waste of time things, and guarantee only the good things, the time well spent things. If this was possible, I'd tell you. I wouldn't lie about it. But since it's not, I've got 3 things for you to chew on. 1. How come those who have everything and all the time to enjoy it so frequently seem miserable and messed up? Well, I'll tell you why. The sage puts it this way. I have seen another evil under the sun, and it weighs heavily on men. God gives a man wealth, possessions, and honor, so that he lacks nothing his heart desires, but God does not enable him to enjoy them. Think about those words. And also, how come those who seem to go through really, really, really hard times with absolutely no control of the events that overtake them, they often testify that if given the chance to do it all over again, they wouldn't change a thing. Why? Well, because it brought them to their knees, which brought them face to face with God, the God that they had been ignoring for far too long. So that's one thing to chew on, that two-edged sword. Here's the second. Think about death for a moment. How could anybody say that this could even remotely be a beautiful experience? And yet God says it can be. For those who've gone 5150 while experiencing a steady diet of only the good this life has to offer, they seem to self-inflict death as their depressing end. But for those who let God fill up their time, control their life, the Bible confirms precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of his saints. That's the second thing to chew on. Now the third. The third is the bigness of God and his control over time. Solomon finally says, he, God, has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the hearts of men, yet they cannot fathom what God has done from beginning to end. I know there is nothing better for men than to be happy and do good while they live, that everyone may eat and drink and find satisfaction in all his toil. This is the gift of God. I know everything that God does will endure forever. Nothing can be added to it, and nothing take it from it. God does it so that men will revere him. Let's revere God from the standpoint of eternity, his bigness and time. He can make every single activity of your life beautiful in its time or not. He can do the same for each individual of our generation or not. He can do the same for each individual of every generation throughout all human history or not. Moving backward from the point of human history, he made the time of dinosaurs. Before that time was the time of the angels, which included the time of the fall of Satan. Prior to the angels, we just can't fathom it. Eternity goes back too far. How about going forward in time? We know the apocalypse is coming, in which human history will come to an end. God will make that a beautiful thing for some people. For others, not so much. There's heaven for some, a beautiful thing. There's hell for others, not such a beautiful thing. And what comes next? We just can't fathom it. All we know is that it will last forever, for an eternity, but we just can't imagine what other beautiful things God is going to do. So you got three big things to chew on while rushing life to be an adult. I think it's time for you to become an adult right now. An adult in your thinking. A wise adult who looks at time through the maturity that God's Word gives.